Right, brilliant.
Here we go. That's my your fair serious looking.
Yeah, great to see you.
As I know John Gormley has a long way to go back to Dublin, I'm not going to say very much. But I am amazed and delighted to be here and to be with John. I heard John talk when the Green Party was small, a baby, long time ago, and I thought to myself then, that man is going to go places. Wasn't I right? And in those days, a whole new vocabulary has arisen since those days. We hadn't heard of global warming, we hadn't heard of the oil running out, we hadn't heard of the internet, and we certainly hadn't heard of sustainable Clonakilty. And so I asked John, please to launch our Sustainable Clonakilty website. Another word hasn't been heard before. The world has changed, the world is going to change a great deal more. And I'm very happy that our Environmental Minister is John Gormley. John.
Well, Jennifer, thank you for your very kind words, and Seamus, thank you for your hospitality today, and it is very much appreciated. And I'd like to respond to some of the comments that were made by the councillors downstairs, first of all, because I think the eloquence of their presentation is testament to the quality of the representatives we have at local government level, and I think it shows again the need for real local government reform. And I've listened very carefully to what has been said. I'm going to check out, and I mean this, I will check out everything with my department to see where things stand with the issues that have been raised by all of you. And I suppose that brings me to the whole question of sustainability, because a phrase that we always used for many years in the Green Party was to think globally and act locally. And in essence, what people in Clonakilty are trying to do is to act locally. And it is only by acting locally, and indeed having the power to act locally, that you can have, I believe, a truly sustainable community. And West Cork has a great reputation over many, many years for having an alternative vision and for having a sustainable vision of the future. And I think this is further evidence of that. We see here a website which will be of tremendous value and assistance to those people who visit the area or want to visit the area, who want, and indeed for local people to see how we can advance the sustainability agenda. And I always believe that this new green era that we're entering, and we are entering a new green era, there's no question about that. I've always believed that the Green Party is there to be a catalyst. I mean, we're probably too ahead of the curve many times to be too much of a mainstream party. We're there to set the agenda, and others will look at what we're saying. And you know, for many years, what we were saying may have been ridiculed, and indeed at other times may enrage people, but eventually there's acceptance. And I think we're getting in now to the era of acceptance and of understanding of what we're saying. And I even recently had this, I regard it as fairly minor controversy around the light bulbs issue. And when you think that that is only one small issue as part in terms of our overall emissions in this country, it means that we have a long way to go still, but it's happened. It's beginning to happen. And when you look at I suppose the size of the challenge that we face in terms of global warming, I've had the opportunity in the last number of months to meet with Al Gore, met with him in the UN in New York, met with him more recently in Dublin, and the forecasts in terms of global warming are alarming, to say the least, in that it's now clear that the polar ice caps, North Pole, will be gone within 23 years. There you go, he is gone. It'll be gone within 23 years unless we stabilise our CO2 emissions. We've been told we have a 10-year window of opportunity to stabilise CO2 emissions. In fact, they've revised that back down now to 8 years. So it is truly an enormous task, and in Bali we agreed a 30% reduction. That's what the EU wants, and the EU has led the way. In terms of these discussions. So I've had the opportunity this morning. You talked about the Mirage, and what's neat. Bernie Connolly has taken me around and shown me where it is. I have a great. I now have a picture. So when people talk about these issues in the future, and if it is brought up in any forum at all, I will know exactly what people are talking about. And you can hear the rain pounding away there, and no doubt the rain is going down into the sewage scheme as it's not being soaked up, as you said. These are all issues. They're all issues because they're all connected. They're connected because why are we tarmacking over our driveways? Well, because we have more people have cars. And why it's just this vicious circle, and a vicious and unsustainable circle that human beings have got themselves into. And the only way that we can counteract that is through common sense. It's as simple as that. Common sense. Unless we apply common sense solutions, then we will not have a sustainable future. And this, I believe, is using technology in a common sense way. And I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to officially launch it. Thank you very much.
Do you honestly believe that we managed to turn things around? Or, like many of us, are you fatalistic that it's just going to allow?
Well, I mean, I honestly, I mean, if I were a betting person, there's still an outside chance that we can do it, right? But it's at the moment it's not looking great, right? But a complete shifting the way we think. That we have to think carbon, that everything we do, we look at the room and say, how much carbon? No, I said the other night, when we get our bills for the electricity, we have to show people that's how much carbon you've used up, right? In future, when we build our houses, I mean, you've got your log burner, but that's fantastic. But really, in the future, we're going to have houses which require no heating, right? And then we can do that, so that you go in and your body heat and your computer and that heat up the house, And that's where we're at. It's called a zero carbon house, and I've seen it.
You guys abolished my house pretty heavy at times.
Yeah. Well, you see, we're making huge advances, but it's the pace of change just has to be accelerated, and I think we can. And I should say, by the way, and if you see, I know there were a number of people here earlier on that were waiting for this launch, and if you see them, you can apologise that we got delayed. And I think there were many of them who wanted to come along to this event. So if you know them, if you see them, just tell them that. We got delayed, but I mean, I think it's possible. But here's the thing that you have to consider as well when we're talking about any of this, and that is, I call it the difference between archaeological time and geological time, because I always contrast two sites in this country. There's the Burren. Burren is, if you look at it, you see the fossils from the Burren, 350 million years old, right? That's pretty long when you think about it. And then you go and you go to a site, and I had the privilege this year of going to Newgrange and going into the chamber, one of 20 people to go in and see the light coming in. And we talk about the wonder of Newgrange, but Newgrange is 5,000 years old. It's nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's how that human beings have been in this country 8,000 years, 10,000 years. It's nothing. So if people get to understand just how insignificant in terms of time we are, and that our allotted time as a species is running out unless we kind of get smart, then it's only then. It's only then when people say, okay, we've got to cop ourselves on a bit. That we can truly do something about it. But yes, I think it is possible.